Happy full moon in Aries. How are we all feeling? We feeling heightened, tense, enlightened, strong? These are all things that I think the full moon in Aries is going to be bringing to us. My name is Mimi Folco from Harvey Alchemy. Welcome back to my channel. What we're talking about today is the full moon in Aries. And for me, I think it's speaking a lot about humility and what humility means to us. If it's losing that ownership of what we've created, of our identity, or if it's simply being kind and compassionate and understanding. So I do kind of want to look at what humility does mean to you. If you are interested in knowing more about this full moon, you should check me out on Instagram. I go through the astrology of the day every day in my stories, and then I also have some tarot content in the feed. By the way, this seems like a pretty good time for me to just let you guys know that I created a sun and moon journal and a planner. So this is the compact version. It's just the months basically. And so you can plan the months. And then this one is more of a journal where you can reflect every day what's going on. And then it's also got the full moon, the new moon, and you can kind of reflect on how everything is making you feel, the sun and the moon. So it tells you what position, what sign the sun and the moon are in on any given day. And you can get those on my website at harveymountainalchemy.com. And if you want more information about it, you can check out my Instagram, harveymountain.alchemy, or at mimis.me. So a lot of opportunities for you to check those things out. So I have these 3 piles here. I have 3 crystals for you to choose from. So let's get started and look at your full moon tarot reading. All right, so pile number 1, we've got this bumblebee jasper. Pile number 2, we've got this clear quartz sphere. And pile number 3, we've got this golden selenite egg. All right, so pile number 1, let's see what this full moon in Aries is bringing you. There we go. You've got the 8 of Cups. So this is the heart of the matter, what you're dealing with this full moon. And you've got this card which is about removing yourself from an emotional situation. It's about saying goodbye to what you were once so emotionally attached to. And maybe because this full moon is Libra and Aries, there's something about your relationships and an emotional attachment to the relationships that you are keeping and maintaining. And it doesn't mean that you have to walk away from the relationships, but it does mean that maybe your relationship with somebody else is evolving and growing into something new. And so saying goodbye to the old version of that relationship and allowing that new version to come through. Because this full moon is also in a T-square with Pluto, Pluto wants to create this deep transformational change, which will eventually be extremely healing. But we tend to avoid the Plutonian energy around us because it can be kind of tough. So that's definitely the heart of the matter of what is going on for you, is having to step away from the emotional situation that you're in. Perhaps maybe there's some temper for you to deal with, and yeah, stepping away from that high emotional state. So that is what's the heart of the matter. Let's see what you are leaving behind, what is no longer important. We've got the 4 of Swords. So I feel like you have been resting on this information for some time. And Mercury retrograde in general is just an amazing time to reflect and to sit on information and see how we feel about it in our bodies. So it feels like you've been sitting on this, and suddenly with everything going direct, because at the point where it is the full moon, all 4 planets will have gone direct. So yeah, there's almost time for us to stop resting on it and stop sitting on the information. And moving forward, we've got the Hermit. It's a different form of rest. It's a risk-taking rest where, you know, here she is all safe in her bed and comfortable. She's under the night sky, but she's protected in her space. And she also has those swords to protect her from anyone outside. Whereas here, the Hermit is vulnerable and open to the risks of nature and to the fire. But instead of seeing it as risk and being afraid of it, to see that as your new home, as your new sense of comfort. So moving towards this energy of you guiding yourself and you almost self-soothing in a way, stepping away from maybe some codependent tendencies, right? With Libra, there are some tendencies to be very much focused on your relationships with others, that with this full moon in Aries, it's much more about focusing on the self, focusing on what it is you need, focusing on your identity, focusing on your sense of self. So having to have the strength, the determination to say, I'm going to be alone right now. I'm going to take some time aside just for myself so that I can heal. That's what that Hermit is really saying, is really to be true to yourself. And this is a Virgo card where, you know, Virgo isn't really at play with this full moon, but I feel like there's some discernment that you can use during the full moon that Virgo qualities, like that Virgo has as a quality. So Virgo is very discerning. It's very analytical. It's rational. It's logical. It sees the information for what it is. Whereas Aries and Libra definitely sees all of the information, but it struggles to discern what fits them. Whereas Aries sees only what fits them. They're so focused on what suits them that they can't see all of the rational information in front of them. So there's a need to discern the information when you move forward, when you are stepping away from this emotional attachment in your relationships. All right, so what is it that you are seeing? We've got the Page of Wands. You're seeing this as a new journey, as a new adventure. That's great. I think you see this as an opportunity for growth, as an opportunity to chase your passions and to start something new, have some new excitement in your life. But let's also see what the universe sees this as. Interesting. So the universe sees it as the Queen of Wands, really stepping into your own. And in this deck, I definitely attribute this Queen of Wands to Aries. So the universe is sort of seeing this as an opportunity for you to come into your own in a mature way, where you're seeing this almost as like, oh, this is an opportunity, maybe more lighthearted and fun, and like, oh, maybe I'll do that. But the universe is sort of asking commitment of you. It's asking you to commit to the choice to walk away from your habits, from your emotional habits, and instead to truly guide yourself with your strength, with your discernment, with your ability to see rational thought, and the ability to create your own new home, wherever it may be, by putting your light into the fire and letting that soothe yourself. So you're seeing this as this Page of Wands, like an opportunity, and maybe I don't know very much, but I'm just going to try anyway. Whereas the universe is saying, no, this is you finally stepping into your power. All right, so let's see some hopes that you may have right around this time. We've got the Queen of Pentacles. So maybe there's some tangible financial success that you're really hoping for here. Wanting to manifest abundance and really trying to achieve almost everything, right? Like wanting to attain all of the physical material things. That's what you're hoping for. And I almost am getting the sense that that's what you need to step away from. That having those goals of having financial success isn't where your soul is going to feel the most aligned. It's similar energy, but it's more about you wanting to attain like an emotional and spiritual abundance. All right. And let's see some fears. The Page of Swords, that you don't know enough. And that's that similar energy as the Page of Wands before, of like, well, I don't know very much, but I'm just going to try it, which is a good attitude to have. But at the same time, you have to honor your integrity, honor your knowledge, honor your growth. So I think there's still some fear in not knowing what you'll be doing once you do step away. Once this 8 of Cups is activated within you, once you're able to walk away from what you've invested so much in, to what you've emotionally committed to, once you're able to step away from those emotional commitments, I think there's going to be a sense of feeling a little bit lost and not really knowing your way. That Page of Swords is so much about, I don't have enough intelligence or information to guide me through this. So that's a fear. And what I love to think about fears is that the fears are not true. They're not real. They're just our own habitual like emotions that we project onto our situations. So to be able to say, oh, I'm afraid that I don't know enough, you suddenly debilitate that fear by voicing it out loud, by vocalizing it and taking back the power. So let's see what the likely outcome of this situation is going to be. The Emperor, an Aries card. Wow, I really am feeling this energy of having to stand up for yourself. You have to really honor your needs, your abilities, right? Your skills, what you've experienced, how you've grown. And I almost feel like this is something great for a Libra to hear, that yes, you have to lean into that Libra energy of being able to see both sides and build relationships with multiple people. But the opposite is true as well. You have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself too. And that's what I think this full moon in Aries is all about, is how can you take care of yourself or how can you take care of others while still honoring your needs? And especially with Pluto making that T-square, there's a lot of tension about needing to make deep transformational change, even though it's not the easy thing to do. So that was your reading for this full moon in Aries. I hope that was helpful for you. Let me know what resonated down in the comments, and also just let me know how you're doing. So I'll see you next time. All right, pile 2, we've got your clear quartz sphere here. I love this guy. So cool. He's got all these occlusions on the bottom and then very clear on the top half. So very cool. Let's get started with this full moon in Aries. I talked a little bit about humility, but I also think there's a lot about needing to stand up for yourself when you are facing others who you can see their point of view, but there's a need to honor your own needs and values as well. Not to mention, there's also a T-square going on with Pluto, so there's tension about deep change that needs to happen. If you're interested in knowing more about the astrology of what's going on, check out my Instagram at mimese.me. I talk about the astrology of the day every day in my stories. So let's get started with the heart of the matter for this full moon. We've got the Hierophant. Wow. So here we have the Hierophant, and the Hierophant is associated with Taurus traditionally, but I also think of it as Sagittarius as well. And so in the Sagittarian way, the Hierophant is about opening the mind and learning new lessons and the higher education aspect. But in the Taurian way, it's also about convention and what is traditional, what is stable, what is secure, what is sturdy, what are the lessons that we've learned in our early formative years that are just tried and true, and that's how, you know, society has made them traditionally what we do. So that's what you're kind of dealing with this full moon. I almost feel like there's something about having to break out of a group of people that believe a certain thing or that act in a certain way that just doesn't align with you. And so having to separate yourself because your beliefs are different. And I'm getting the sense that it's sort of difficult to do that because there are tendencies to want to people please or wanting to fit in with everybody. And so this full moon in Aries is sort of saying it's time for you to honor your beliefs. It's time to honor what you believe is helping you open up your mind, and also dealing with what is traditional and conventional. Why is it that way? Is it just because that's what we've done for decades and centuries, that this is the way that we've always done it? So asking yourself, do I really want to do it the way that society tells me to, just because that's the way it's always been done? Or do I want to break the mold a little bit and change things up? That's what this full moon is saying. So let's see what you are stepping away from. What is in the past? Oh, okay. We've got the King of Pentacles. I think wanting to find material success, I almost feel like work. You've really tried to do this conventional work thing that society has told you to do, working 40 to 60 hours a week, at least in the United States. And so trying to reach these goals or attain fame or riches or something just because that's what you've been told is successful. And so walking away from your idea of success and instead owning your own identity and that being the success that you have, you know, so finding your sense of self. And because I think you've been a little skewed from the sense of self and from your true self by what you've been trying to do for so long. So that's what you're stepping away from is, and that's so Taurus to me. I mean, the King of Pentacles in this deck is very Taurian to me. So walking away from what you think might be very secure, very sturdy, maybe financially abundant and successful, but is it really bringing you this sense of, you know, opening up your mind, learning something new, broadening the horizons? So another card did pop out, and that's what we're stepping into, what we're walking towards. We've got the Six of Pentacles. Wow. So going from the King of Pentacles, which was, I own all of this money, I am successful, I am abundant, look at how rich and famous I am, to the Six of Pentacles of sharing the wealth, of allowing others to swim in the pool of money that you, or the pool of abundance more than, it's not even money, it's like this physical manifestation of success that you have. And I feel like sharing your abundance with others is going to be so freeing for you, because right now you are tied into this convention, to this restriction. And if you were just to open up a little bit and let go of what you physically have, just because, and you have it and you've been holding on to it just because that's what you've been told you need to do, to let go of it and to gift it to others. So honestly, I really feel, and the astrology of the last week too has really pushed this idea of contributing your values to what you believe in society, right? We had Venus in sextile with Saturn in Aquarius. I mean, there's just so much about being a humanitarian and like donating money to the causes that you believe in. So I almost feel like there's a need for you to find freedom through donating your value and your energy, your abundance towards people and causes that you really do believe in. All right, so we're going to do a what you are seeing. Ooh, what you are seeing this as is the High Priestess. Yeah, you are going through this spiritual development. And part of a spiritual development or awareness, awakening rather, is about realizing that the physical world isn't the end all be all. And there is something much more deep and powerful beyond what you physically have or own or touch, you know? There's something beyond it, that there's a spiritual abundance that you are finding right now. And I think a part of this journey for you is letting go of the financial abundance and letting go of that need for fame and glory, you know, that like very Saturnian or Capricornian societal way of seeing success. And so you are seeing this as a major spiritual step. And I think there's some resistance too, because we do what's conventional because it's what we've always done. We're comfortable with it in a way, even though we're not emotionally comfortable with it. We're comfortable with the concept because that's what we've grown up with. So you're seeing this as a very spiritual move for you, which means it could be quite daunting. And how the universe is seeing it. Yes. How the universe is seeing it is this moon. So I think that this is a very big step for you, not only in your spiritual awakening right now, or whatever path you're on or journey you're on, but it's also about your past. And I think in the past, there have been times where you clung on to, and not just in this lifetime, but in the past lives, my goodness, how many times can I say past in one go? So I think in past lifetimes, there have been moments where you clung on and chose your valuables over what was truly important to you. You clung on to money. You clung on to your royalty. You clung on to your house, or you held on to, you know, that sack of flour that was really valuable, you know, over choosing love or compassion or kindness or whatever else was actually way more important to you. But because gold has this value that we put to it, you chose the gold over it. And so this is not just breaking a pattern in this current lifetime, but I think this is a huge pattern for you from the past as well. Having to release that control, release the need for security and stability, and instead choose the thing that brings you emotional and spiritual ascension. So let's look at your hopes. Whoop. Yeah, we've got the Star, the card of hope. This card symbolizes hope and progression and forward movement, calm, serenity. We want to feel emotionally safe because this is a card that comes straight after the Tower where you are physically struggling and suffering. You don't have your home, you don't have somewhere to eat, you don't have food, you don't have anything secure, but you emotionally know that you are going to be okay. And I think that is what you're searching for right now, is emotional security within yourself. Let's look at fears. What fears are you having right now? There we go. The Five of Pentacles. That's so funny. Like 20 seconds ago, I was like, I haven't seen the Five of Pentacles in a while. And here she is. What you fear is that you're going to end up with nothing. That yes, while you have emotional fulfillment, you still need physical abundance or physical security and stability. Something that makes you feel like you have you have your feet on the ground and you know where you're going next. So I want to pick this card before I forget it. Oh, no, never mind. So this fear is this poverty mentality of, if I choose to let go of my money, if I choose to let go of my successes, I have nothing. But you have to hold on to that hope that conventions change, traditions change, and we are all shifting towards this more holistic and compassionate way of living. The age of Aquarius, it's here. So let's look at the outcome of this situation, of this full moon. Whoa, buddy. Wow. Yeah, so we got the Devil. So the outcome for this full moon is you really are going to be asked to look at your shadow side and to look at the ways that you see success and glory and money and fame and why you are so attracted to those things. These human conventions that we've created. Why are we so attached to them? Wow, that's really interesting. So I think this is more of a long journey for you. This isn't just the full moon in Aries, bam, this is what's going to happen and we're done with it. I think this is kickstarting something. So for the next 6 months, from this full moon in Aries to the full moon in Libra next year in 2022, to watch your journey with finances. And that's actually something that you do in my journal that I am selling, or because it's all about tracking these cycles, these 6-month cycles that we have with the lunations. It's really powerful stuff. So this is really kickstarting a new way for you to look at how you feel comfortable just with yourself. No ownership of anything, no valuables, just by being you and sitting with yourself comfortably. So that is your reading for this full moon in Aries. I hope that was helpful. Drop in the comments what resonated, how you're doing. I love to hear from you guys. So I will see you next time. Bye. All right, so pile number 3, we've got your golden selenite egg. I love this piece. So beautiful. So we're going to be looking at this full moon in Aries, and I just wanted to bring up that this is there's tension surrounding how you fight for your needs and yourself in regards to your relationships. How it is that you own your sense of self, your identity, and how you assert yourself. Not to mention, there's also Pluto creating a T-square with the full moon. So it's asking us for deep transformational change. And there may be a tendency to want to avoid the need for change, but that's what Pluto wants us to do. If you want to know more about the astrology, I talk about the astrology every day in my Instagram stories. So you can join me there at mimis.me. So getting started with your reading, the heart of the matter here. We've got the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, I think there's something about finding the balance. There's a fine line between fighting for yourself, asserting for yourself, and being extremely self-centered in a way. And when it comes to wellness, I do think it's really important to put yourself first, because you are the only constant in your life. You are the one who will always be responsible for you. So I always urge and encourage others to fight for themselves and to be a little self-centered, right? Our view of self-centeredness is a little skewed, where we think that like painting my nails is so self-centered, but really that's just you taking care of yourself. So to be a little bit more leaning to one side about it and saying, this isn't self-centered, this is just me taking care of myself. But I do think here that there's a bit of a fine line between self-care and maybe pushing your relationships to the side. That maybe you are putting yourself first in every situation where sometimes the other person needs to be heard out. So I'm definitely hearing that this Libra time for you might have been a little difficult, because it's urging you to push yourself, where you're so comfortable in, I am right, I know what's going on, and just that I am right energy is really coming forward. So having to find a really soft balance between asserting yourself, but also listening to what others have to say, because maybe they have really solid input. What you are stepping away from. We got the Emperor, which is Aries. So what we're stepping away from is that attitude of, I know all, I know everything. So really, like, what is it about this? Why are you struggling to release the control around being right? What is it about being wrong that you're afraid of? Those are things I think you really need to reflect on for this full moon in Aries. And I don't think it's going to be comfortable, because Pluto is making a square to the sun and the moon. It's asking you the tough questions, and you have to answer them whether you like it or not, sort of situation. So Aries doesn't like to be refuted or rebutted. You know, I'm an Aries sun, and sometimes I can be really stubborn in my arguments if I'm not very aligned with myself at the time. Thank goodness for my Taurus moon. It grounds me. So yeah, stepping away from that Emperor energy, that Aries temper, anger, confrontation. Maybe it's not always about confronting the situation. Maybe not everything you disagree with needs to be addressed. Picking your battles, letting some things slide. What we are walking towards. The Seven of Swords. This is what we're moving towards, what is likely in our upcoming future, the Seven of Swords. I think there are some decisions that you have to make. I think it's really time for you to reflect within, right? Because 7 is the number of personal reflection, of self-honesty, of your spirituality and faith. And Swords is the suit of the mind. And so I think that you'll be asked to really reflect on, what sort of communications are you trying to have with others? What sort of relationships are you trying to maintain? Are you only attracted to relationships that have friction and tension and conflict? Why is that? So releasing that need to always be talking, and instead be more receptive and listening to other people's energies and words. All right, we're going to look at what you think this is about, or what you think is going on. You've got the Hanged Man. I feel bad. I feel like I'm calling you guys out. What you are... well, crystals sliding everywhere. What you are feeling in this situation is that you have to do absolutely nothing. And I'm not saying to do nothing. I'm just... the cards, it's not even me. The cards are more saying that it's about looking within and finding that new perspective. She has this lock on her wrists here, and the wrists are ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication. I feel like you are so locked into what you want to say that you don't quite listen to what the other person's perspective is. And I don't think this is a blanket statement for everything, right? Like I said, there's a really fine balance here between, yes, you need to take care of yourself and assert and you need to be self-centered sometimes. But I think there's a certain situation in your life right now that's asking you to shift your perspective, and that maybe you don't know what is right everywhere. So you are seeing this as a time of slowing down and doing nothing, having no action. But I think this passive, reflective energy is more of an action than you think it is. I think that a lot of work can be done in the body by really sitting within yourself and reflecting. She has nothing to do but just lay there. And so she's meditating, you know? So taking that time to yourself, I really feel like this full moon would be a great meditative ritual for you to sit back and reflect on what it is that you do need to talk about that is essential to your well-being to confront or take action on, and what maybe could take a little bit more time, you know? Okay, so what the universe sees this as is the Ace of Wands. Wow. So where you are seeing this as just delays and feeling like nothing is happening, the universe is actually seeing this as a time of a new beginning for you. New journey, new way of taking action, a new way of seeing growth, and a new way of being inspired by the world around you. That's really beautiful that for you, you're just seeing, I feel like there's this impatient energy of being really testy and not knowing what, you know, just feeling like you're not getting anything done because you're sitting back. But the universe is actually seeing it as you are sitting back. And what's so great about it is so much is happening within you by sitting down and by reflecting and being still. So let's see what your hopes are here. 9 of Cups. Yeah, I really think that essentially in your core, you really want emotional fulfillment. You really want to have joy, but there's just a part of you that is really testy and restless within that you may be causing, or not causing, but beginning, like picking arguments, I feel like. Maybe small bickering that's going on. But a part of you really just wants to have that emotional fulfillment and joy and freedom to be happy. And freedom to express. Fears. What is your fear surrounding this full moon? We got the Moon card. I think what you're afraid of is to really sit in the emotion of it all and to reflect on what is it, why do I feel the need to control my actions? Or less that, but more about trying to get the right words in. Why do I need to control through my actions? Does that make sense? There's like this temper, this anger within that is causing you to be very restless. So then you feel like you have to take action on it. Whereas instead you could sit back on that restlessness, review it, and then calm it with your own body, with your own energy and your own powers. The likely outcome here. We've got the 5 of Wands. Yeah, instead of using that that restless energy for conflict, use it for collaboration. Use it for an opportunity to boost others up and to grow your community. You know, using that fire within where all 5 of these guys could be arguing, but all of a sudden they're using their resources to build each other up. So this full moon in Aries is a lot about where do you need to assert yourself and where do you need to listen to others more. There's a deep change that needs to happen at the core of how you address your needs. All right, that is your full moon reading. Drop in the comments what resonated and how you're doing. I'd love to hear from you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.